Hopefully you've had the opportunity here in this module to gain a greater appreciation for the evolution of these restore technologies over time. Back in the oldest of days, that process to recover an Active Directory was fraught with danger. The loss of a domain controller or an object, or heaven forbid, an entire Active Directory domain or forest, were things that could be extremely difficult to resurrect. At least these days, when it comes to the object and container restore activities, we've got some better tools to bring to bear that can get those accounts, can get those organizational units back online much more quickly. And along with those restore technologies, Active Directory itself has some built-in tools that once you take it offline, present you the abilities to just make sure that the database is working correctly, to check for any inconsistencies, or even compact and defragment that database to reduce its size and perhaps make it function better. So what have we talked about in this module? We have talked about all those different topics, starting with what you can do to actually turn off Active Directory on a machine. Back in the old days, there was no way to disable Active Directory, but now we have Active Directory as a startable and restartable service. With Active Directory offline, you can then go through the various tasks in optimizing and otherwise doing some various gut checks on your Active Directory database. We talked about the ways in which you would clean up metadata if you should have a domain controller that explodes or melts down and needs to get gracefully removed from Active Directory. We talked about how to configure snapshots and how those snapshots can tie into the backup and then restore of Active Directory and its objects. Those restoration activities, as well as the object and container level recovery, require quite a few command line tools that are required if just to get a couple of user accounts online. Now, whereas the entire Active Directory restore process can still be a little dangerous with the authoritative and non-authoritative modes you can choose, at least that object and container level recovery has improved now with the release of the Active Directory Recycle Bin, which simply allows you to right-click and restore an object or a container much more easily and right within the Active Directory Administrative Console. And with that, we bring to a close our discussion here on Active Directory for the 70-411 exam. Coming up next, we're going to switch gears into a very curiously named new functional group called File and Print Services. That new course on File and Print Services I call curious because when you look through the 4 objectives in that functional group, not a single one of them has anything to do with printing. For those 4 objectives, we'll talk about configuring DFS, we'll configure the File Server Resource Manager, we'll explore a bit about file and disk encryption, and conclude with a look at configuring advanced audit policies. That exploration on the file half of File and Print Services is the topic for our next course coming up.